Welcome to The Necessary Entrepreneur, where we deep dive into the journeys of those who have dared to leave behind the conventional path to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams. And today we have an inspiring guest who pivoted from a career exclusively in medicine to also crafting premium cocktails. Our guest happens to be Danielle Mann, the visionary founder and CEO of Rivergreen Cocktails. Danielle's story is a fascinating blend of science and creativity. With nearly 2 decades of experience as an OB-Gyn physician, Danielle found herself exploring the art of mixology during the COVID-19 pandemic. Recognizing a gap in the market for high-quality, ready-to-drink gin cocktails, she decided to turn her passion into a business. Rivergreen Cocktails is not just another beverage company, it's a brand committed to using all-natural ingredients and producing small batches in Louisville, Kentucky. Danielle's dedication to quality and innovation has led to the creation of 3 distinct flavors, the Gimlet, Bee's Knees, and the Greyhound, all of which have quickly gained popularity. Today, we'll explore how Danielle managed to shift from a demanding medical career to the world of entrepreneurship, the challenges she faced in starting a beverage company from scratch, and her vision for the future of Rivergreen Cocktails. We also discuss liquid-to-lips marketing, company sticking points, developing soft skills, the difficulties of building a team out of market, and overcoming financial scarcity, self-doubt, and imposter syndrome. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a cocktail enthusiast, or simply someone looking for a bit of inspiration, this episode is for you. You can find out more at rivergreencocktails.com. We'll just jump right in this. So I think this is going to be fun today. So welcome, Danielle Mann, and the CEO and co-founder of Rivergreen Cocktails in Louisville, Kentucky. An hour and a half down the road from here. So welcome. But founded in 2020 during COVID. One of these days, decades in the future, we're going to stop referring to this time, I think, as like the pandemic and COVID. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we won't. It's wacko times. However, here's one of the most fascinating things. We're going to talk all about these drinks you brought with you today that are in 120 locations in Kentucky. You're getting ready to go into Ohio. But here's what's crazy. By trade, you're a physician, an OB-Gyn.
Yes.
What the hell were you thinking?
I ask myself that quite often. You know what? I think that I have always wanted to start something.
Crazy number 2.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw an opportunity. And I had some time and, you know, put one foot in front of the other. And before I knew it, I had a business. So it wasn't like this really well thought out business plan. Mm-hmm. I mean, that would have probably been smart, but I just wasn't quite sure where it was going to lead. I certainly didn't think it was going to lead to where it is today. I quit my private practice last May. Never would have thought I would have done that. I'm still practicing medicine, but in a much smaller capacity.
You broke all the rules once, and then you broke them again. I mean, I know in a past life someone that became a physician, so I was right there on the front lines of the organic chemistry classes and the big charts on. I saw what that is, and I went, that was painful.
Yeah,
that was painful.
Yeah, it was.
And so what it took from you in high school, undergrad, and then touring around, and where are you going to go to med school, and then what's it going to look like after that, and then going into a specialty. What I know is you had to do well along the way. And the dedication you probably had for 12 to 14 years of education, even high school and beyond. So you are breaking the rules by accomplishing something in society that not many people get to. Like, so kudos. You're smart. You're intelligent. You're hardworking.
I'm definitely hardworking. I am.
Okay, so you broke those rules, and you're like, screw glass ceiling, screw all this shit, man. I'm going to the top. And then you broke the rules again. You achieved what so many of us, when we're children and we're coming up and families are going to be proud of us, you achieved what so many put down as their destiny and their goal. And you broke that down and said, I'm going to break rules again. You saw an opportunity. So talk about this mindset of, like, everybody's talked to you about the journey, but I actually have some appreciation for this entire thing you've gone through. And then I'm an entrepreneur.
Well, Mark, when you're saying it all out like this, I'm like, again, going, what the hell am I doing?
That's what I think. Yeah.
I think that as I have gotten older, I've realized that there's more things I want to do. And I enjoy medicine, and I enjoyed the challenge of going to medical school and getting in. And I wasn't a traditional student. I actually took 5 years off before I decided to go to medical school. So I made a very distinct decision to go to medical school because I wanted to be an OB-GYN. And I was interested in the challenge to see if I could do it. And this business is very much the same way. It's not about the money. It's about the challenge.
Bullshit.
Well, listen.
Not right now. It's not
right
about the
now.
money.
I was going to say, not right now. But, you know, I don't think that most people who start something, a lot of times there's something else driving it than the money. I mean, yes, the money, I think if you get money, or if I ever sold this one day and I'd be like, wow, that was really great. I did it, you know, but
you're already able to have that life, kind of.
do what?
So you're already able to have that life. That's why I know it's not just about the money.
Yeah.
You could already have
Yes.
you already had a financially free life because of your
100%.
job.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like, you're nuts. What is going on here? So what's driving it then?
The challenge of doing it. You know, I think when you have that itch, that entrepreneurial itch, that you just want to start something, and you want to see if you can do it. If you've done it, and as you say you have, then you know what I'm talking about. Like, you just feel it. Like, you just want to do something. And this isn't the first thing that I've thought about doing. It's not like I just one day said, oh, I'm going to start a cocktail company. I kind of did. But I mean, there were other things that I look back that I almost started. And I got excited about, you know, kind of that, the idea of building it is just really exciting.
Some endorphins are kicking.
Yeah, totally.
So why this one? So you thought about the others. So what I found out is everyone thinks about these ideas.
Totally.
Most don't activate on it.
100%.
So why this one?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I think a lot of people think about things, but they don't follow through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that from several things that I thought about starting in the past. You know, one of the reasons was the blessing of COVID. I know I'm with you. I'm like, how many times am I going to keep talking about COVID? But I had more time.
How? People were still having babies.
They were, but I was not allowed to be in the hospital like I was. So I only worked every other week.
So you were only seeing them when they were having a baby more. And less.
Mostly. Mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so they were keeping us. I wasn't operating.
Okay.
Wasn't seeing people for their normal exams. And so I had more time. And I started making cocktails like everyone else.
And drinking them. And you're like, if I'm going to drink them, maybe. So I take the same approach when I'm going to pay rent, when the real estate company I run is going to pay rent. I said, wait a minute. Why not buy the building and pay myself rent? It's the same thing. If you're going to go to the store and buy all the gin and stuff, like, and you're going to make that many of them, why not make your own?
Well, you know, it was with the extra time that I had, and I started making the gin cocktails, I just was starting to notice nobody was doing gin. And I thought, well, maybe it's because nobody likes gin. I mean, maybe that's why there's none of these. I mean, I just got very curious by all the drinks. And that was the time that, you know, the ready to drink market was, you know, I mean, it was just soaring. Mm-hmm. And we were starting to see, you know, all the malt liquors like White Claws and Trulies were starting to be traded out for a spirit. Mm-hmm. But nobody was really doing gin. And so that kind of was the start of it because I was drinking gin. And I only noticed that there were some gin and cocktails. And I thought, well, there's all these beautiful gin cocktails and nobody's putting them in a can. And so I started making them and I was like, I think that this is a great idea. And when I started researching gin, I was starting to see some trends like that gin was making, albeit slow, but a comeback. And I am still seeing that.
There's gin bars that open up.
100%.
We have one here in Covington.
Right.
There, I'm sure in Louisville.
We do.
Right.
We do.
So those people must have seen the opportunity. I wonder why gin, where was it always placed in society? Where was it? Because I'm not a big drinker, but I would get a bourbon in something. I would get a vodka in something. It's just like our mental go-to.
Sure.
Was gin placed at a more high-end cocktailish type of party place? Or was it even, do you know?
Well, gin has had highs and lows. That's kind of, I mean, I just think that gin has this kind of sexy, dirty past. I mean, it's a historical drink.
Okay.
It's been around for so long, and sometimes not in a good way. I mean, the whole bathtub gin prohibition era type stuff was not exactly. I mean, that was really terrible.
Wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It was called
But yours is good, Danielle. We promise.
We-
Rivergreen Cocktails. It's good, you all.
We've come a long way.
So your guys' marketing, so you invoked it. Your all's marketing is sexy and fun.
Oh, thanks for saying that. I
It
think
is.
so.
Your social media is on point, and I think it's probably attributed to your co-founder,
Yes.
right? Is it Steve?
Yes.
I think he was a
Chris.
photographer by
Yes.
trade, and so it's
Yes.
good. Your social's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's very talented.
It is. I don't know. I'm not in brand meetings. Today's the first time we've met each other, but I went, man, it feels like your cans, all your images, and all your social media marketing. I'm like, this is on brand. It feels like whatever that
I
is.
appreciate you saying that because I mean we've done everything ourselves, so we aren't this business that said, oh, let's go hire a big company to help us come up with a brand. I mean, we did it ourselves, and honestly, this is not how it began. We actually had an entirely different looking can with a lot of color. It was very mid-century modern type of vibe because we both like that, and it had a ton of color. But we took a marked up can and we took it to Total Wine and we put it on the shelf with all the other canned cocktails and beers and stepped back and we couldn't find it because it blended in because everything's so colorful. And it never felt right. And that day we came up with this and we've never turned back.
Kudos, you guys. That is in line. When I look at that, I'm like, this is in line with the thing that you're selling, the marketing of it, with it being natural ingredients. I think it's cane sugar and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it just looks like that to me.
Well, I wanted it to look like a cocktail, like a higher end cocktail in a can. I mean, I realize it's a can, right? But we had this vision of I wanted it to look good, whether you were drinking it on your boat or you were drinking it in a tux. Like it was something that wouldn't be obnoxious. And I was really into it being very gender neutral. I wanted it to feel like a man or a woman or whoever could carry this and not feel like it was embarrassing, I guess.
Yeah. Is that a shot at guys?
Well, I don't know a lot of guys who want to be carrying a really flowery drink.
Yeah,
I mean, some guys, that's fine.
What do you think, ladies too? They aren't used to having a can in their hand.
I think that
in general.
Yes. I mean, a lot of these drinks, if you notice, they're in the skinny cans.
Yeah.
We were very purposeful with the thick can.
Yeah.
We
are.
I like the thick can, but I wanted it to be in kind of an elevated experience.
Yeah. So you said a little bit ago that you didn't really have a plan, and maybe it would have been better if you did. So I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, because every plan I've ever made for business has not come to fruition the way it was designed.
Yeah.
Every plan. And so it would have gotten shredded and thrown away anyway. Something wouldn't have worked.
Well,
You found
and to your point, I mean, I look back on stuff, like the branding, and I look back at our old cans, and I'm like, wow, that's where we were. It's amazing how it's only you can only see it when you look back, right? Because when you're in it, in the day to day, it's hard to see that.
You're in a bubble. You think it's awesome.
Yes.
Until somebody tells you it's not, and no one's buying it. So how the heck did you break through the 3-tier mafia? I'll call it that.
Oh my gosh, right?
It's hard. I know some other people that have some breweries and the canning line. I've seen them go through this whole thing, and there's expenses all over the growth. But the toughest thing is like this distribution thing's an issue for them.
Well, I appreciate you even understanding that and saying that. So
Can I go back and say it again? The 3-tiered mafia. Can I say it?
Yes, you can.
You don't have to. I'll take the heat for it. I don't want you to get in trouble with your people.
Well, I will tell you, and I will give a shout out to Heidelberg because they have actually been really good. I mean, when I hear other people's stories, and I will tell you, we're a small brand, so I get it. But with starting this, I didn't even know about the 3-tier system. I mean, I'm coming from medicine. I mean, here I had this idea, and I thought, well, I'll just get somebody to put it on their shelf. Well, and then I learned about the 3-tier system. It doesn't work like that. You have to actually have something to present to the distributor so that they can hopefully pick you up and then, help facilitate orders. Well, I needed to come up with something to give to the distributor to see if they would accept me. But when I tried to get some people to make it for me, one, they didn't want to do it with the natural ingredients. And two, the minimum order quantity was so outrageous, I was going to be out a lot of money. And I thought, okay, so you want to make 50,000 cans. What if the distributor doesn't like it? Then I have 50,000 cans.
They were like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the pushback on not wanting to make it with natural ingredients? Was the manufacturing process more difficult because of it?
I believe.
Or just not the way it's been done? Just say it. Why are you holding back?
I think that people like to use flavorings.
Okay. Why?
I think it's easier.
Okay. Well, that's where a lot of people go.
Yeah. It's easier, and honestly, it's cheaper.
Okay.
And whether that's a natural flavoring or it's an artificial flavoring, I always think that term is funny to me when people say it's a natural flavoring, because
it's not.
It's not.
And I think who knows if it's those reasons. What I've found consistently in life is if it's the way it's always been done, they just want to keep doing it the way it's been done.
Mm-hmm.
And entrepreneurs don't like that. I told someone this weekend, I was at a little pool party for a family and a graduation party, and someone was making jokes about not following rules. And I'm like, that's not a bad thing. I said, yeah, I don't like to, so I make my own.
Yeah.
That's not normal thinking for folks, right?
Yeah.
And it's not easy because you're battling against this all the time, but you weren't willing to settle.
Well, I'll tell you, I was told that I could never make this in a mass quantity. And I said, why? And they said, you can't take, I won't say who, but you can't take a recipe that you made in your kitchen and make a bunch of it. And I was like, why? I was like, it's just math. To me, it just seemed like math. I'm like, if I'm going to be using, a half of an ounce of simple syrup in a 12-ounce can.
Why can't you just multiply that?
Why can't I just multiply it? And they're like, well, it doesn't work that way.
Why not?
I said it changed the chemistry. I'm like, well, I'm going to find out.
Yeah, and you did. Did you have those conversations? Did you end up flipping someone, or did you finally take all the no's and come up with answers to those problems and then go find another one and say, I have it solved, will you do it? Or did you work through that with one?
No, I made them myself. So it ended up being less expensive for me and seemed less risky. This is where you're going to think I'm crazy.
Well, I already do. That's okay. That's good. Crazy's good in entrepreneurship.
I got my liquor license, and I rented a space, and we rented some, my co-founder and I, we rented some small equipment. And so instead of having 50,000 cans, we got a tank. It's called a bright tank. And we made
1,000.
It's even less than that. It was 12 cases. It's about 30 gallons of liquid. And so did that, hand seamed them, hand labeled them, and had a product to present to the distributor. And Heidelberg picked us up immediately.
Why do you think they did?
Because they taste good.
That's the only reason?
I mean, they taste good.
We were going to try them today, but you didn't bring me chilled. I have to provide my own ice. That's a bad party favor.
Listen,
that's bad.
Listen, I agree with you. I didn't know you'd want to drink at this hour. I guess.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
So give us the break. Let's talk about the flavors and what you've made and what you've created here.
So I ended up going with 3. And this was after, going through a bunch of different gin cocktails. My co-founder and I, landed on these 3. So we have a Gimlet, and that's made with organic cane sugar, real lime juice, gin, and sparkling water. I have a Bee's Knees, which is made with gin, real lemon juice, real honey, it's like a honey syrup, gin, and sparkling water. And then I have a Greyhound. And the Greyhound is just Rio Red grapefruit juice, gin, sparkling water.
Lemon, lime, and grapefruit.
You got it.
Okay. Are those traditional flavors for gin cocktails and drinks, like if you go to a bar?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Some people, will recognize the name. I think Gimlet is a pretty common name. I get compliments on Bee's Knees all the time. Like, that's so cute. And I'm like, I didn't name it. I can't take credit for it.
But it's still cute.
It is cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these are all classic cocktails that have been around for a really long time.
It's the Gimlet and the Greyhound seem like a 1920s name or something.
Well, the Greyhound was originally, the name was because it was served at Greyhound bus terminals.
Oh, really? I was going to say racetracks or something. Okay.
Yeah.
So they just taste good.
They taste good. And I do think that Heidelberg appreciated kind of our sticking points, which I always say our sticking points are that we're using gin, and not a lot of people were, that they're all natural ingredients, and that it's a 12%. A lot of things were not 12% when we were starting it. A couple are, and they still aren't. A lot of them are not.
You and your friends like to have some fun.
Well, I like shelf stability.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
That's you guys. We're not trying to make you drink 12%. It's just for shelf stability. How long will it sit there on a shelf?
Oh, I mean, it'll last a year.
So the higher alcohol content gives it more shelf life.
Sure.
See,
And
we're learning things today.
listen, and I've seen when it drops down what can happen.
Not
Fermentation.
Bad.
Bad.
Yeah.
Exploding cans. It's happened.
Do you run the can line? Do you own all that stuff now?
Yeah, so we used to do it by hand, but then last summer we bought our first canning line.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It was small,
Mhm.
but it was
Still
It
expensive.
was better,
Yeah.
yes, and it was more expensive.
Mhm.
And then I just did a big upgrade and bought a much bigger canning line, much bigger tank. So now we started with these 30-gallon tanks, and they're called 1 BBL tanks. And we started with one, then we ended up with 4 of them, and now I've jumped to my tanks hold about 220 gallons of liquid now.
Awesome.
And so it's been a big upgrade for us. But we just finished our first round of funding, and so we got some cash.
That's exciting.
Yeah, inject
Yeah.
some cash into this.
How'd
Hired some people.
how'd it feel giving up some of that equity? How'd it honestly feel?
Nervous.
Yeah.
Nervous. I mean, that was a whole new thing for me to learn too. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I took some courses.
It's a whole nother business.
I had some very nice venture capital people sit down with me and teach me.
Of course they're nice.
And yes, and
They want a piece of something cool. Let's be real.
well, you know what? I have been very humbled by the people in the entrepreneurial startup space who want to pay it forward and have been very kind through this process with me. I have said numerous times that one of the most valuable things that I have learned with being an entrepreneur is the networking piece. And I was a little late to that because I didn't understand it, just like so many other aspects I just have been learning as I've been going. But the networking piece I started a little over a year ago, and that to me has really changed my business.
How'd you start doing that? At the Chamber of Commerce or just through the venture VA people? What do you, or the VC people? What was,
So
did it happen organically or did you know you needed to do it?
I knew I needed to do it. I was sensing that I needed help from people because we were growing. When I got Kroger, we started growing.
You have to invest then.
And I was starting to feel like I needed to do an upgrade. I thought I was going to have to ask for money. I didn't know what that looks like. I felt like I needed to be educated on some things about growing and how to run a business. And so really I was introduced to a man named Larry Horn. Shout out to Larry. Larry and I are now friends.
He's
but
getting some love. Yeah.
he runs Amplify, which is a like an entrepreneur startup support system
In Louisville.
In Louisville. And so I got hooked up with him, and he heard my story. He heard what I needed. He introduced me to 5 people. I met those 5 people. Each of those 5 people introduced me to another 5 people, and I just kept taking meetings.
The yeah, when you're starting to talk to some VC people, you're forced to think differently than you thought when you started it. You just did because it's your baby, and you have to wrap your head around the reality of what it's going to take, what you're going to have to give up, a little bit of control, all sorts of things. And you have to, at that moment, I think you ask yourself, what I found talking to so many people, it's like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to go big? Am I really going to do this thing? Because the only reason why you give up that piece is because you're really taking this thing to the moon.
100%.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
So I didn't do VC. I ended up doing a friends and family, but I have one strategic investor.
A little bit larger.
Who is not I'd like to think we're friends now, but not a friend or family. But he ended up getting involved in, because I felt like I needed someone with some experience who could advise me on how to get to that next level. And so really it was pivotal at that time because getting Ohio and being invited to go into another state felt like a really big thing. It is a big thing.
Yeah.
And especially Ohio is a beast in the alcohol world.
I'm assuming Heidelberg helped out with that too, right? Like being hooked up with them because they did distribute in Ohio.
Yes, they invited me into Ohio.
That's awesome.
And so that felt like a compliment.
Yeah.
Because we were doing so well in Kentucky.
Yep.
But I will give another shout out to Kroger because they really have been supportive with just supporting local. And I do think that because we've done so well in Kroger, that's what helped get me into Ohio.
So why do you, other than it tasting good, why do you think it's done so well in Kroger? Because you have this idea about get it in their hands, right?
Liquid to lips.
There you go. So you came up with that, I'm assuming, or did you hear it somewhere else? That's good.
I heard it from somewhere else.
Okay, well, it's yours now, I guess. We can borrow things as long as you're a comedian. You're not allowed to steal jokes. That's what I've realized, right? You can't steal people's text from books, and you can't steal their jokes.
Yeah, but no, liquid to lips marketing, I think I'd heard that from someone else. One of the reasons that I think that we have done so well is that we have committed a lot of resources, time, and money to getting drinks in people's hands, having them try it, because a lot of people have not tried gin. And so I think that when you say it's gin, people are like, oh, I don't know if I like gin. And I'm like, but people like something free. And so if you can give them just a little sip and they want to try it, I think a lot of people have been surprised that they're like, oh, maybe I do like gin. So I do think that I do a lot of tastings.
Yeah.
I mean, this weekend we had 15 or 16.
Was that also with the PGA Tour being in town? Like, was that in Louisville? I'm assuming most of them.
Yeah, and honestly, Northern Kentucky.
Really? Welcome to the party.
Yeah, listen.
People don't know.
Oh, my gosh.
I think the rest of the state's taking Northern Kentucky for granted here a little bit.
Listen,
this place is happening.
I will tell you, full disclosure, I was not focusing on selling up here at all. I was focused on Louisville and Lexington, and I even was going into Paducah and Bowling Green area. And it's because we got Ohio that we got the Kroger system is in Ohio and Northern Kentucky. And so I got some of those stores. I didn't know.
We get ignored by the whole state. We do. And if you I was talking to the president of the Chamber of Commerce the other day, and if you put the 3 counties in Northern Kentucky, Boone, Kenton, and Campbell, the only reason why we're not a powerful force in the state is because these 3 counties operate independently and separately. So you're in Louisville, it's Jefferson County. It's a strong force, right?
Yeah.
In Lexington, it's Fayette County.
Yeah.
Our region is split into 3.
3 counties.
And it's 3 judge executives. There's 3 sets of commissioners. There's 23 school districts. Like, that's the reason why we're not powerful in the state. But if you put us together, we would start to challenge Louisville. It's amazing what's happening up here. The airport's a tremendous driver. Amazon, so P&G's right downtown. Kroger's right downtown. So, yeah, we're underestimated, but it's our fault. We've done a terrible marketing and branding job.
Well, I can't tell you how well we're selling up here.
It's incredible.
It's been, so we focus a lot on Northern Kentucky right now.
Well, I'm glad you're with us today.
Yeah.
Hey, so 2023, a little shot at trying out for Shark Tank. How'd that go?
Oh, that was fun. You want to talk about something that just felt a little crazy?
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd been told that I should try out for Shark Tank, right?
As smart as you are, you're a good listener. Because today, if there's something that some entrepreneurs that can take away from this, you've listened to people that have come before you. You've went and found experts and you've listened.
Yeah, I do think that's very important.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Because as accomplished as you were in the rest of your life, a lot of those people don't want to listen. So, good job.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
The Shark Tank thing, and I still don't even know if that's going to go anywhere, but I had so much fun. You want to talk about just like a personal growth moment? Because it was one of those things that, I don't know, I kept getting told, and I thought, maybe this means something. Maybe I should just go. And I did. And I thought, and I was on a whim. I bought a plane ticket and I just went. And my co-founder went with me. And I tried out, and it was awesome. It was just a fun experience. One, I've given some pitches before, but I've never given a pitch like that. And just, there were so many other entrepreneurs there, and you just get to hang out with them, and everyone is just hustling and, dreaming. And, it's just an exciting environment to be around.
I can imagine just being around entrepreneurs, because what you had to go through the steps of business to get there and then be willing to extend yourself and do it. Everyone else did the same thing.
Absolutely.
The amount of energy with just that group, take Shark Tank away.
Absolutely.
There's nowhere else you could go to get that entrepreneurial energy, I bet.
Well, you know what though, and I tell other entrepreneurs this. I mean, I think that there are places. I mean, I certainly hang out with entrepreneurs in Louisville at certain events. They have, we have something called Venture Connectors. We have what's called Startup Grind. So there's different sort of venues where you can get plugged in to talk to other entrepreneurs. I am involved with several other women, and we started basically a women entrepreneur networking group.
What about the dudes? It's been our world up to this point. Is that what you're going to tell me?
Well, yeah.
I talk about everything here for the record. We're not scared of anything.
Well, I mean, I think it just kind of helps to, when you're talking in kind of an intimate group about your challenges, and sometimes
They're more
being a woman, there are some extra challenges with that. And so
Not here.
Not
Not in the studio today.
Except I'm the only woman.
Well, you're powerful. That's why. We need the three of us just to be able to compete.
It's not my only time that I've walked in and I've been the only woman. So, and I think too, even in the alcohol world, there's just not, I mean, there's more women than I think there used to be, but there's not a ton of women in the in the alcohol space.
So the Shark Tank experience, when do you hear if you're going to go further? How does
they
that
don't
process
tell you?
go?
It's terrible that way. They're like, thanks for coming. We'll let you know sometime. So,
Or not.
Or not. Or not. Or not.
Don't you hate that waiting game? Just tell me.
Yeah.
Just tell me.
And honestly, at this point, like, I don't care.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah. I have no regrets doing it because it was, again, I was proud of myself for doing it.
Is that what we tell ourselves to like protect the downside? Like if it doesn't come through, whatever.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Why is that? So we're going into life. Why do we do that? Why do we need to do that?
Well, but I don't think you have time to dwell on, what you're not getting. It's a waste of time. I mean, don't tell me. I mean, I go down that rabbit hole. Don't get me wrong, but there's no time. I'm really into right now. I've gotten a business coach and trying to stay in a positive mindset.
It's important.
Yeah, just so that you can keep moving and keep flowing, because anytime you're doing a business, I'm assuming this is my only one, but there's bad things that happen all the time.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
And there's also good things that happen every day. So
they just don't get the same attention.
Absolutely.
Because we're expecting that.
Yes. 100%. You know what I'm also trying to do is celebrate the wins. Because I'm so expecting it. Sometimes I have found that something that I've really wanted, and then when I get it, I'm happy for a second, but then I'm on to the next thing I want.
But that's part of the curse of being really driven.
Yeah, maybe. But I think it's important to celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
Because I look back on some things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like just pining away for that. Like I wanted it so badly. And I'm like, I don't know if I even recognized that I got it.
Yeah. Well, that's why you developed an alcoholic beverage to celebrate the wins. You're like,
let's crack open a cocktail.
Did you dream that? Just go back a decade. Would you have dreamt of this?
Oh God, no. No way. No way. No, I was very happy, being a doctor, and I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. It's a busy life.
You have many careers and jobs here.
Yes. Which is why I had to quit my private practice. It got crazy.
So did you quit private practice and go work for a hospital system?
Yeah. Well, I was already, I was employed by Baptist in Louisville, but now I work in Lexington, but I'm a hospitalist. So I will work like a 24-hour shift.
By appointment?
No, just a 24-hour shift. I cover the hospital.
Sorry, that's what I meant. It's a schedule. It's an 8-hour day, 12-hour, 24.
Yeah.
It's traditional employment now. So you were an entrepreneur before. You had a private practice. You might not have just thought about it that way.
I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah. Where'd your business come from when you were a doctor? Where were the referrals? How did the ladies come to you? Where'd you get your business? Because your client, that was your business. How'd you get?
Word of mouth.
You were an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Interesting.
By referral.
Yeah. No, absolutely. By referral.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe it's because I've always thought of it as starting something myself. I walked into this, I didn't start the practice myself. So maybe that's why it felt different to me.
Yeah, but it's
You know?
so I guess you were an operator. You just didn't have to be the entrepreneur in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were already operating the business, so you had some of those operating functions down. Working with some employees, some HR stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. All the not fun part
Yep.
of starting a business.
So what about I actually think the soft skills, I talk about it very often. We hear about bedside manner with physicians.
Mhm.
And I attribute those same skills that are necessary to really succeed in business. And it's just being plugged in, having intuition, have communication with the people, being willing to listen, and just sitting and caring a little bit. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what bedside is, to sit down and care for a moment. And if you can do that same thing in business, I've found, I don't care what we're selling, what we're making, wow, you have such a greater advantage to be successful.
I agree. I before I went to medical school, I waited tables for 5 years.
I'm not surprised.
And I have always said, and I actually used it in my medical school interview, that I said, I believe waiting tables and being in customer service type
you
of
a better.
field. Oh, gosh, yes. Because you understand how to talk to people. And I don't regret that decision ever of taking 5 years off before I went to medical school.
So what's the message there? Like what would you give, since you're really empowered to help women and being in this entrepreneur space and having the network group? What's the message to young women in their 20s about that?
Oh, I will tell you, I had a lot of patients, like in my OB-GYN practice. I loved my young patients, especially like my 18, like just finishing high school, trying to figure it all out. And I always said, I'm like, don't stress it too much, because I don't regret that I had an untraditional path. I think that it made me a better doctor. I know it made me a better student. I was very motivated and focused and excited about a career in medicine by the time I decided to do it. So many times, you're 18 years old, you're coming out of high school, and someone's like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? How the hell are you supposed to know? You don't even know what even's out there, So to me, I'm like, there's no correct way. It's kind of like, what's right for you? But it goes back to what we were saying. Like, so many people tell you this is the way it has to be done. And
Bullshit.
so I agree. I just don't think it has to be that way, and it's okay.
So if it doesn't have to be that way, what does have to be about the individual, about a perspective? What does have to be at that, regardless of what you do? What's the approach you have to take? What are the characteristics? What's the mindset? Because I think that's the important part. If you're going to be 18 and 20 and 22 and 24 and do things non-traditional, you better do some things.
You have to do something. I mean, I have 3 children right now. I'm like, you have to do something.
And is it about the way you do the thing, though?
I think hard work is really important. I've always told my kids that I just want them to try their hardest. I don't care about the grade as much as I care about effort. I'm like, you just have to try. And so I'm like, whatever you do, try. Be the best at it you can be, whatever that is. But there's nothing more frustrating to me when there's no effort.
With unfulfilled potential, too.
Oh, that's devastating.
It'll drive you insane.
Oh, it's devastating.
Because I feel for that person on what their future could be.
Oh, missed opportunity, right?
Yeah.
But,
I think that's the only regret I'm going to have in life. If I look back, whatever life I get to have, it'll be the things I didn't do or didn't try or didn't fulfill or didn't give my best.
And that goes back to me starting this. I mean, it was that once I got it in my head, I was like, I just want to see if I can do it. I just want to try. Because, I mean, really, my life was just fine before this. But I thought I'd have a lot of regret and I'd look back and say, I wonder what would have happened if I'd tried.
That's the regrets I believe we're going to have.
So
good job executing on it, right? So you got a business coach.
Yeah.
Why? I'm actually friends with a lot of these business coaches, and I sit down I'll take them to a nice dinner at Jeff Ruby's, and if you would see, I'm a banter, and I question everything that they do. My good friends, I really go deep with them, and I will call them out. I'm like, what are you coaching? Did you do it? What advice are you giving them? Would you do the same thing? Would you roll the dice? So what made you, and I'm not, everyone says the greatest thought leaders in the world, the Tony Robbins and all these people, the philosophers said, every coach still needs a coach.
Yeah.
So I get it, but why?
Why did I do it?
Yeah.
There was a time with the business that I was really, really struggling because I was still full-time OB-Gyn and working very hard on this. And with the 3 kids, like I just felt like I was drinking from the fire hose, and I felt like I wasn't doing anything right. And I just didn't know what to do. Like I just was getting into a bad mindset of I'm terrible at everything. I am really sucking at all the jobs in my life. And I just couldn't make sense of it. Like it just was a big muddled mess. And I had a friend who said, you need a business coach. You need somebody who can talk this out with you and put you in a better headspace. And really, it was through coaching that I quit my job. You know, it was like one of those aha moments. But I think that where the business coach for me personally is they help me calm down in my head and help me to understand the process of personal growth and how when something doesn't go right, that is okay, that it's a growth moment, and don't hate on it because there's a reason for it. And I am constantly needing to be reminded of that. And it's not even just with the business, it's with other things too, right?
Did you have any idea that entrepreneurship was going to require you to become such a next level human? Did you know that? Do you think you already had the mindset stuff figured out as a doctor?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I even thought it was something. I didn't think it was something.
It's something.
It's something. And it is mindset. You're exactly using the right term. Like it's mindset. And so it's a lot of that, of like just getting out of your own way, basically.
Yeah, problems aren't problems. Just find the solution.
Or what is it? They tell me a lot of times, it's just a feeling. Don't be afraid of a feeling.
So what I've seen entrepreneurs go through, I mean, you're 4 years in. You're not a rookie now. You know, you're doing some things. You raised some funds. There's probably a great likelihood of a really good outcome and success for you, right? You get past this 4 to 5 year mark. Whether you feel it or not, you're going to do pretty big damn things. And even if this thing, whatever it becomes, you might sell it, it's just setting you up for the next one. Because what I found out from so many entrepreneurs, who we become through this process makes us more capable than we even knew was possible.
I completely agree. I am a changed individual. I mean, completely changed. I mean, the friends I have, the things I do, the way I think.
The friends you don't have now that you did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of these things, like you love it and you hate it,
It's your 4th baby. You have to love it.
But the process is, I could see myself doing something else. It's a little bit, because it's such like an adrenaline rush or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It's, it starts getting your brain thinking of other ideas. But what is cool about it is that once you bring one to life, you realize it's possible. So all those ideas that go through your head are now not like pipe dreams. You know that you can do it.
Yeah. Receipts, I think, are important in life for us.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have the receipt, you know what it took. You know what the process is. And I think what happens then is once you have one success, then your network of people, they wanted you to do more.
Absolutely. Well, then you have more resources to do more, right?
100%. Because what I've learned also is that these people who want to fund companies, they're funding the individual more than the idea.
I have been told that.
Yeah. I see it all the time, and it's true.
Yeah. I mean, I've even with the people who are coming on with me, I mean, I've been humbled by them just saying,
It's you.
Yeah. Mike, they think I can do it.
How does that make you feel?
Humbled. I mean, really, it makes me feel it's a lot of responsibility. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when you're starting to play with other people's money, it's another level.
And time and lives.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Yeah,
and people who have that much faith in you, you're humbled, but at the same time, you're like, God, I don't want to let them down.
It's big responsibility.
Yeah, for sure.
Since you invoked it, sometimes when people bring up kids and invoke it. I don't know the age. What do your kids think about this? Like what's their conversation?
Sometimes I don't even think that they notice it until like one of their teachers will be like, well, I hear you're making gin. My 11-year-old. I mean, he's like, well, Hunter, that's his name. Hunter said you have a bee's knees and a Gimlet and a Greyhound. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Are we going to talk about this in the school environment? Are we going to do this? Is this proper?
I'm like, do you want me to bring you some cocktails?
Yes, that's the next thing. Yes.
Instead of coffee.
Okay,
in
yeah.
a coffee mug.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the school and the teacher there, right?
But I mean, I think that they like it.
They're
I mean,
excited.
I think so. I mean, I think sometimes it's a pain in the butt. I mean, I have my own facility. They spend a lot of time in it. I have to pick them up from school and they have to study there because I need to work or whatever. So I think some of it's annoying. But I'm hoping that they'll see the bigger lesson in it. And I think I have a 15, 14, and 11-year-old. They're all boys. And my dream is that they will look back on it and be like, wow, mom did that. She did it. And then maybe they'll be the person who knows that they can do it too. Because really anyone can do it, right? It's just doing it.
So you're talking different than the Danielle would have 4 or 5 years ago. You would have said something like that, but not from a business and entrepreneurial standpoint. You'd be like, go to school, get your education. I mean, even though you did it different, you would have. So I just recently hired a highly successful and talented lady, and she's young. I'm just in this place now in my own career that I'm hiring these folks that I can be their parent now.
Oh, yeah.
It's wild. But she grew up in Northern California, and even though she sent the resume, I didn't care about it. And the reason why I didn't care is I was interested in the story and the path and the journey. And that journey was from being a very little girl. She grew up on her parents' used car lot in Northern California. And what I know about business and being exposed to that.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's what your boys are going through. And then she went all the way across the country and went to an SEC school without any other friends going there.
Mm.
Right? And then stayed and got her master's. And then after that, sold high-end men's clothing in Nashville. Like, I just look at the path and I'm like, that's a capable, problem-solving individual that isn't scared of many things.
I agree.
And I think that was probably all kicked off from working at the used car lot, seeing all the stuff. So I'm assuming your boys are going to have the same experience. It's going to allow them to have an advantage just because of the experience. And they're going to be working more than an average 8, 10, 12, 14, 16-year-old kids will, right? They're going to earn their advantage, but it's going to prepare them to broaden their horizons.
I hope so. Because, to your point, when with medicine, it's a set path, right? Which I really liked about that. I mean, I very much was like, oh, you go to school, you get out of school, you're a doctor, you get to make money. Like it's a set path, and that's comfortable. This is uncomfortable, starting a cocktail company, because there is no path. There's no specific path that says if you do A, B, and C, you're going to be successful. That's the scary part. So that's where I hope my kids will see.
Yeah, in the beginning when I said, what were you thinking? That's really the question, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's like this journey, this path had already been carved in medicine. You had to do the work still. You had to earn it and achieve it, but it had been carved for many people before.
Yeah.
Even though a path had been carved about, you could probably do some research and find like, hey, ready-made cocktails, who's done it? What's it looked like? What's the process? You can get on YouTube, you can research it, but it's your dream. It's your idea. It's your branding, all that stuff.
Yeah.
To find, I just, I'm fascinated. If you would have known what these 4 years are going to be, would you have still done it?
Oh, absolutely. My life is richer. I don't mean monetarily, but my life is just richer since doing this. I have no regrets. No regrets. I've even told myself, if this blows up in my face, it doesn't go anywhere, no, I will not regret it. And going back to the thing, like, because I think I would have always wondered. You
would have. Where's this lead?
Like, what's the dream? The dream is one day I hope somebody wants to buy it from me, and then I'll do something else. That's the dream. That somebody likes the branding, somebody likes the idea, the all natural and the gin and the higher ABV and all that, that would be great. For now, in the short term, I just want to destroy Ohio. I want to get through and let us be known in that state. I think we're doing a good job of it in Kentucky, but we just started in Ohio about 2 months ago. And so, and Ohio is a big state, especially for
13th largest in the country. I
yeah,
think.
it's you don't think about it. I've never thought of Ohio as being a big state until I've had to kind of attack it.
Now you have to come over there and kiss their butt and tell them they're awesome and you guys are great. Try my stuff.
Yep. Well, and it's building a team from far away, which has been, I mean, believe me, I spent a lot of time here in Ohio.
Talk about that. Talk about building this team in another market. The challenges, what your process is looking like, what.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a little bit like you. I've hired people and it's been based on intuition. It has not really been about the resume. One of my first main hires when I got my money, and I did the upgrade, is my operations and logistics guy. Because my co-founder and I were making the cocktails ourselves still until I hired someone to start running the machine for us. And he's never made cocktails before. He's never made beer. He's never done any of that. He worked in a factory and has some automotive experience, but he's worked in a factory and he's worked hard and he's managed teams and he's into safety and he's into protocols and writing them all up. And I just had a good feeling that he was going to be a quick learner, and he is. He's been great.
Boy, there's a story that we probably don't have time to go into today about becoming that person. The time that he put in becoming the person he is to show up in front of you to obtain this opportunity was a lot of grit, a lot of determination, a lot of persistence, a lot of bullshit jobs, a lot of getting dirty, and probably going the extra mile, working extra hours to turn himself into that person.
Absolutely.
That when the opportunity arises, he's ready.
And he approached me. I was actually, we sell our drinks at the soccer stadium in Louisville. And I was sampling my own cocktails to people. And he tried them, really liked them, and came up to me and said, are you interested in an operations or logistics person? And so I said, contact me on Instagram, DM me. I can't even believe I'm saying that word. I've never been a social media person until this.
You are now.
And I just said DM. Ugh. I'm disgusted with myself.
Welcome to the world of entrepreneurship.
I know, right? Well, and Steven is his name. Yeah. He contacted me, and that was almost a year ago. And I said, thanks for reaching out. I don't need your services right now. And then all of a sudden I did. And I went through all my DMs and I found him and I interviewed him, and that was it. So, so that was my first hire. And then I've been kind of hiring some people to do tastings. And, I have found that if you ask people, especially store managers, does anyone ever come through here and do tastings for you and you just get a good feeling about them? Do you like them? Do you think they're a hustler? They're good at sales? My two best people that I've gotten by asking managers of stores, like, who do you like? And so Allison is her name, and she lives in Northern Kentucky, and she also is in Ohio. She started working for me part-time. She's about to come on full-time, but that's how I found her. A guy at Aero Liquor said, oh my gosh, you got to meet this girl, Allison. She's great. And that's how I got Allison. And then Allison introduced me to someone she really liked. And then she introduced me to another person she liked. And that's kind of how I've built a team, is just, meeting people and asking who's good here. Because how would I know in Ohio?
Did you see yourself as a collector of folks to buy into an idea? Like, did you feel that way as a doctor? Did you feel like you were, I hate the term HR. I hate that term, a human resource. But I just say,
it's true. I never thought about that.
I hate the term employee. Like when people say, me and Jack the other day put something out, and it was like, hey, me and my employees. I was like, hey, take that term off. I don't look at it as me and my employees.
Yeah.
Like what truly successful entrepreneurs realize, like, hey, I have to make it about them right now.
Oh yeah.
It just has to be. Because if I'm going to get them to buy into my dream to do this with me, I need them to believe. And for them to believe in me and this thing, I have to care about them more than myself right now.
Yeah.
That's not an employee.
Yeah. No, we're a team.
Right.
I mean, we are 100% a team. And I completely agree with you. The people that I have working right now believe in this so much. I mean, it might as well be their baby too, because they are just really passionate about it. They see the opportunity. They're seeing it. I think they're out there, having people, they're on the front lines, like having people try it. And they're like, I don't know what's going on, but I just sold 25 of these in, 2.5 hours. Like, what is going on? Like, everyone loves it. And so, they're seeing it, and they're getting excited about it, and they're getting the passion about it. And so some of the people that I have are contacting me and saying, I'd like a bigger role. I like it. I know that I'm just working for you and doing some of these sample events, but, can I have a bigger role? And so that's where I'm starting to feel this momentum happening, where I'm like maybe there's something here.
There is.
So
you said a few minutes ago that you're going to come and destroy Ohio.
Yeah.
Who helped you create that inside of you as a kid, as a human, to use that word? That's a unique word, not unique in entrepreneurship, but that's a word that only a highly competitive person uses.
Yeah, I am highly competitive.
Yep. And
with myself, I guess.
Well, that's the best. That's
Yeah.
the best way to be,
Mhm.
right? Don't compete against others. Compete
Yeah.
against the version of yourself every day. Somebody made an impact.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I will say I've been working since I was 12 years old. I've been buying my own clothes since I was 12 years old. Taking the TARC bus to the mall. I would say that probably I would think that my parents, they made me and my siblings very independent.
Because you mentioned the word hard work earlier too.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that they have a relationship with something like, I'm going to destroy something, and hard work. Not everyone has a relationship with those words, and I can tell that you do. And it came from somewhere, something. And I do believe most young people, they're capable of that thing, and it has to start young.
Yeah.
It started young, and I couldn't have predicted she started working at 12 years old. I'm not surprised, though, because it goes in line with this mindset and what you're doing. We've got to get them early.
Yeah, I think that, I think hard work is important. I do. I tell my kids this all the time. It goes back to what I told you. I'm like, just try with whatever you do, and, work hard at it. Try to be the best you can. Just don't half-ass it,
But that's natural for you now. You don't have to think about saying that. It is a part of your DNA and your operating system now.
Yes.
So I'm saying that doesn't just that. I don't think that's in us when we're born. We could have a disagreement over it. I don't think it is. I think that's established somehow.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that going to medical school and trying to get in after I'd been waiting tables for 5 years.
You had a chip on your shoulder?
I don't know if I had a chip on my shoulder as much as it was harder to get in, and I was just bound and determined that I was going to. I mean, I guess I just wanted to prove to myself that I could. And I think it kind of comes to the same thing with this, that I just want to prove to myself that I can.
Well, that even that 12-year-old Danielle, I bet the reason why this tastes so good, because that 12-year-old Danielle's in there.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
The tenacity, the hard work, everything that you've become. You weren't going to the do your best you can. You're not putting that thing out unless it's the best you can.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you were right about that.
Is this what the cans will look like when you're selling 1 million of them a year?
Good question. No, they won't. I'm actually in the process of that right now. So did you know that?
No.
This is okay? That's an interesting question. So these are sleeved cans. This is a label.
Okay, here, hand me that. So as you're talking about it, I can
See the difference?
Yeah. Yep, I see the difference. Mhm. So this feels like this is printed on the aluminum, and this is a label that's stuck on it.
That's how we started. I was going to show you
The label.
hmm
Yep, and then this is now.
That's now.
Yep.
And that's a shrink sleeve. So the labels are less expensive, but the shrink sleeve is less time consuming because they come like that. And so, you're at that point where you're like, time versus money. And time was more valuable at a certain point. And so now we are going to go to printed cans. And printed cans are like Coca-Cola.
Big volume.
Big volume.
Yeah.
Big volume.
Yeah. But if you make a ton of them, it's cheaper per can.
You got it.
Yeah.
That can right there, just the can, not even the lid on top, is 24 cents.
That's a pretty good price. That's cheaper than I had heard some of my brewery friends say.
Well, they can reach out to me if they want to
Okay.
hook up.
That's good. Okay. So,
But the printed cans are 10 cents.
wow.
Big drop.
Okay. How many do you have to buy? Like 50,000 at a time?
165,000 per SKU. So I need to buy about 500,000 cans.
So what you're making sure that you are designing a can now that you're happy with 165,000 of them. Is that the
Yes.
process?
Yes.
So you're making sure you're dialing in all the little tweaks and changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love our cans as they are
They
now.
look awesome.
But when you go to printed, you can only use 6 colors.
See things you didn't know.
I have things you didn't know.
Yeah.
So I had to change it a little bit. So we love our branding. We get complimented on our branding. So I don't want to completely change the branding, but some of the colors have to look a little bit different. So it looks a little, to me, I really like how it's turning out. I think that it looks a little Andy Warholish kind of, which I dig.
You used mid-century modern today. You used Andy Warholish. We're dating ourselves in this conversation.
Yes. You're seeing the trend of what I like. Yes.
Here we go.
Yes.
All right. So you're in the midst of that.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the final one that takes you to the moon, and then you'll establish that's a 2 or a 3 or a 4 year rebrand? It doesn't get done again, does it? For a long time. I mean, you're ordering 165,000 per SKU.
Yeah. I mean, in a beautiful world, those wouldn't last me very long.
Oh. What's that look like? What's that beautiful world? How often can you turn 165,000 per SKU?
I mean,
3 to 6 months?
I mean, I would like to get it to that point. I mean, that is the whole point of growing.
Yeah.
That I want to make more volume. Get more stores. We're just getting started.
Yeah, you're in 120 stores in Kentucky, right?
Probably more than that. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, especially with Northern Kentucky. I mean, I would say we're probably close to 200 now.
Again, how awesome we are.
Yeah. Really.
So will this be 1,000 or 2,000 stores for Ohio, Kentucky? What will it be? 5,000? What's that? No, what's the goal for the 2 states?
I would like to get up to, my dream would be at the end of this year, I would love to be doubling, to be at least by 400, 450 stores.
In the end of 25, 1,000.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have the path drawn out? Do you have the 3-year plan done? Was it a part of raising money? Do you have your metrics on where you really think you can be?
We did a forecast. Yeah. And that was an interesting process because it's all fake. And it's just, it's what you hope, but it doesn't mean, there's good months and there's bad months. We've had some hiccups along the way of growing.
That's why they invest in the individual.
Handle the hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
100%.
But again, that's where I like the business coach, just growth moments so that, you won't make the same mistakes that you do when you grow really big.
Did you have to overcome the hurdle of the cost of the business coach? Did you have to think about that? Because good business coaches are expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you like, am I really going to do this?
Yeah.
Is this something I really can't do on my own?
Yes. Yes. I talk about that with my business coach. Financial scarcity. I talk about it. Financial scarcity with the business and putting money into things that I'm like would not normally be putting money into. Yes. I mean, trying to look at the big picture and thinking that it's just going to help me be a better business person, help be a better CEO, help be a better team member, help to create a better team, be a better, person. It's hard to put that investment because it's costly.
Do you have, this is a question that could feel vulnerable, but I don't know, maybe you'd be willing to answer it. Do you see an attribute or a skill or a characteristic that you don't have yet that you're going to need to develop to go to the next level as a CEO? Can you identify it?
I think I will need.
It's not, I don't mean it to be a gotcha question. It's just we've gone deep here. This is going to help.
Yeah.
This is going to help so many people. This is going to help the 2-year Danielle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I feel like a lot of the things that I am going to need are things that I already have, but I need to be focused on those and let the negative things that enter my brain to push those away easier. I think we even touched on this, but it holds you back, and so that's what I work with a lot with my business coach, is trying to not listen to the negative for too long. I was told today to not vilify that part of myself, but to recognize that it serves a purpose and you can be grateful for those thoughts. Thank you very much, but we're moving on. Which I appreciate, because they're like, don't vilify a part of yourself. That's just who you are. But I do think that trying to work on that mindset, and then right now, I'm still very much working on the networking. I think there's a lot I can do in that space, in meeting people. So
how do you think that's going to serve you?
I mean, because I think that we're all one person away from maybe taking you to another level, and you don't know when you're going to meet that person or have that opportunity. A lot of people be like, you go to so many meetings, you don't, how do you know what meetings to go to and what meetings to not go to? I'm like, I don't. So there was a long while there that I just was going meeting and saying yes to everything, because you never know what person or individual or opportunity. And I have found so much value, and I've thought, thank God I went to that meeting.
Is there one that you weren't going to go to? There's many of them, but is there one you weren't going to go to? All the things going on, but then you went and you're like, oh my God, if I wouldn't have gone to that one. Do you have
100%? Because I think that the particular meeting that I went to set off a chain of events that led me to my strategic investor. And I think he is going to be very valuable.
Why weren't you going to go? Some mundane thing in life.
Nervous, probably. Walking into a room of other entrepreneurs and, that self-doubt, I don't belong in this room type of feeling that for me personally, talk about being vulnerable right now, creeps up for me, that imposter syndrome, that feeling of, all these people are more successful than me. All these people have built businesses before. I don't belong in this room, then you have to do that self-talk thing of where you say, no, this is actually the room I want to be in.
And they were you one time.
Yes.
And they had the same feelings.
Yes. And you forget that. And you should be in a room where everyone is better than you. That's the room you should be in,
That's
right?
what they keep telling us.
Yeah.
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I almost didn't go. 'Cause I was nervous. It's by myself. It's a little scary.
Does the self-talk come in from self-talk, or does it come in from being around some of the wrong people that you didn't know were the wrong people? Like, where does that come from when you're business coach? You have to not be your own villain. Because if people aren't entrepreneurs, this is a different mindset that you have now, right? Is it self-talk, or is it others?
It's totally self-talk. And well, probably others too, now that you say that, especially when I first got started. When I first got started, I told no one, because I didn't want to hear the negative, and I didn't want it to influence me. And there was a really long time that I didn't want my name even associated with the business, because I was concerned about what people in medicine would say. And so that was stupid. You always have to go in the deep end and just commit. So I quickly, got over that. But I think that, yes, I think that it is hard to hear people say,
why you?
Yeah, or just like,
are you
really,
crazy?
Yeah, are you crazy?
That's not going to work.
And
why are you ruining your life? You're a doctor. You've done all this. What are you doing? You've got your boys.
Yeah.
All the stuff.
All the stuff. Yes, I've had that. I mean, I don't get that as much now. So I think that now it's more me doing it to myself. I think it's natural though.
Did you ever slap anybody?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Like when they said it?
No.
Did you want to?
Probably eye rolled, but I mean, you know what? Most of the people who are saying that are not entrepreneurs, or they're not doing it. Because I think that most people who are entrepreneurs understand that it's scary, and I think it's brave, and
They have massive respect. They have massive. They know the journey that you're about to go on, and also if you're someone that's going to stick with it, they look up to you.
I have never. My family are not entrepreneurs, so I've never known entrepreneurs. So it's a little strange that I had this feeling to me because I don't know anybody. I mean, I do now, obviously, but my family and friends, none of them are entrepreneurs.
What was the night that you decided you were going to do this?
Like for reals?
Yeah.
It was, actually, I remember it completely. It was I completely, and it was at night, and I pulled the trigger and bought my first equipment to make it. And then the other big one was when I signed on the dotted line for a 3-year lease. And I was like, I just committed to doing this for 3 years.
A 2,000 or 3,000 square foot space, a little office with some warehouse.
It's about 4,400 square feet.
A 3-year lease.
Yeah.
Wow, in Louisville.
Yeah.
That's probably 8 to 10 triple net. Probably is probably what you paid.
Well, I got a really good deal.
Oh, look at you during COVID. People were a little nervous and scared.
Yeah, I got it during COVID.
Okay, all right. Still, you're on the hook for a few thousand a month though for the space.
Yes. Scary.
Yeah.
Scary. So then you tell yourself the things to make it better, like, oh, I'll be able to get out of the lease if it doesn't work out.
Bankruptcy. That's what it is. That's how you can get out, because those landlords want to get paid, man.
I mean, that was the biggest one for me, where I was like, I just committed to doing this for at least 3 years. And I just re-signed the lease. So now
Congratulations.
And actually, I got him to go do it just for 2 years, but it's not because I don't think it's going to work in 2 years. It's because I'm going to need something bigger.
Are you going to build? You going to lease? What are you going to do then? Are you going to have the big office with this? You're already looking for land. You already have it on your mind.
I wonder if I will eventually have somebody else start making it for me. And then I would use my equipment to maybe make new and different things.
Yep. There's the entrepreneur.
Because that's the nice thing about having the equipment, and I've always thought about that. It's an investment. If I want to pivot, I can. I didn't even. Yeah. Yep. I think pivoting is so important. It makes you're like, I can pivot if I need to. Yeah. And, I have the luxury of doing what's fun and the creative aspect of it. We're going to do a drink for the soccer stadium, like a limited release. For
FC here in Cincinnati?
No, in Louisville.
Oh,
Louisville
see,
FC.
That's minor league stuff.
Yeah, believe me. I know. I'd love to be. You know somebody at Cincinnati FC? Let's talk.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm becoming more plugged in. I'm not as cool as the coolest people, but I'm starting to get to know some people.
It's good, though. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about this first pitch last year at the baseball stadium.
Yes. That was terrible.
It was a good walk up. The energy was awesome.
Oh, gosh.
The optimism was great. How you took the mound. Had a couple skips there to the plate.
Oh, goodness gracious.
You walked off confident, though, but you knew. That walk-off, you knew.
Listen, you want to talk another growth moment. I was so nervous. I mean, it's the silliest things that you even think that I'm like, and self-talking. I'm like, it's just baseball, Danielle. It's just baseball. It's no big deal. We have a partnership with the baseball stadium, so they asked me to do it. It was a fun day. But again, one of those things that I'm like, when will I ever get to be out on this mound and throw the baseball?
Whenever you want. I think we get in our own heads about this stuff whenever you want. It's because it's like, when will you be on a Major League Baseball mound? If you keep going, whenever you want.
I think I'm going to have some more practice on throwing if that ever happens.
I agree. They're good. The problem is they've seen the outcome now.
Do you know what's hilarious, though? I don't think I'd ever really
thrown a baseball. I could tell.
And so somebody was trying to teach me how to do it right before I walked out on there.
Bad. You should have just gone out and thrown it. Yeah. It was in your head at that moment.
Yeah.
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 A for effort.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You got better grades in med school than you would have gotten on that pitch. When are the times in our lives that we want a 12% alcohol beverage?
Ooh. time and a place, right?
Yeah.
I always say that. You
Yeah.
took my line. I always say there's a time and a place for
I
a 5%.
set you up. I didn't take the line. I
Yeah.
set you up. I said,
Yeah.
when is it?
Yeah, because there's a time and a place for a 5%. And there's a time and a place for a 12%.
Yeah. So when's our 12% place?
I mean, I like a 12% after a long day at work. I want a 12%.
That could be every day if you're a doctor.
Yeah. Right.
So when life's hitting at the end of a long day, at 12%.
I like a 12%. I mean, I like a glass of wine, or I like a martini, or I like one of my drinks. Like, I like that. You know, I really don't drink a lot of 5%ers. I'm just not going to drink. You know, mine's either I'm not going to have anything to drink, or I'm going to drink something that's a little stronger. But that's just me. But I get it. I mean, I know some people who want to go to, say, a sporting event, and they just want a 5%, or they maybe a 12% is too strong for them.
The good news is for folks like me that don't drink much, I know you really couldn't tell from the studio, but I really don't. We buy barrels of bourbon and do marketing with them. But for somebody like me, it just takes one. So, man,
Oh, yeah.
I could probably go to Kroger, and how much is a 4-pack? What's a retail on it, do you think?
Every place is different, but
Okay.
about $12.99.
So that's awesome. So we're talking about $3.25.
Yeah, and at Kroger sometimes they're $10.99.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's nothing better than being your own cheap date. And you could get 4 of these, and this will last me for about 3 or 4 months, because every once in a while. But if you could be the drink for somebody, even if they're like me, that when they reach in there and grab the one for $3.25.
Absolutely.
Versus $15 at a nice place.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, I mean, it really is the drink I made in my kitchen. I mean, I'm not joking. It's the same recipe that I used in my kitchen, and it's the same ingredients. It's the same honey I was using, you know? So it's honey syrup. I mean, it takes a little bit more to make them. But I think it's worth it. And you taste the difference. You really do. I mean, I know they're my drinks. I know I'm partial, but you taste the difference. So I have a hard time drinking some of the other stuff because I taste the artificial. I taste the flavoring.
A true marketer. Yeah, she's shameless here. She's so good.
It's
she's shameless.
true, though. It's really true.
So why is your target market from the 30s to 50s?
Probably partly because that's, you know, my age range. And I'm equal opportunist. I mean, I'll hit the youngers and I'll hit the
21 in one
elders.
day, y'all. She'll sell you a drink.
Oh, yes, I will. What I have found is that actually the 20-somethings really love the taste of it. And they like the 12%, I'm not going to lie. There's name recognition for people who are, say, in their 60s or 70s.
Gimlet.
And they'll say, oh, my gosh, a Gimlet. I love a Gimlet. You know, so I like that. But the target audience for that was purposeful in the way that I thought the branding would appeal. I thought that gin would be something that age group would be drinking. And I mean, you're hard pressed to not go to a nice restaurant and see gin cocktails now. I mean, it's a thing now. I don't think it used to be so much a thing.
Like even 5, 6, 7 years ago, it really didn't seem to be a thing, right?
Yeah,
You had to specifically order it.
Yeah, and now it's a thing. And so, you know, that age group, I think, tends to be young professionals, and they're going out to dinner and they're seeing gin. And so they're not like gin, you know, it's not this like foreign word. And so
What was I find so many people with me running a real estate company. We're starting to break where we have a couple hundred realtors, and so many people get into our business part-time, have another career. And what I know about every single one of them is you're going to have a jumping off point. This thing's never going to become what you want it to become until you invest the majority of your energy that's the way you're putting food on the table until you do. They don't know it. They don't like to hear it from me. They don't believe it, but it's true.
absolutely.
It's very, very rare. So what happened in your brain when you realized this? I'm assuming you have.
Well, I'm
Or
still
did.
practicing medicine.
Yeah, but they can still do something to put some food on the table.
Yes,
But
yes. But you mean like when I quit my private practice?
yeah, did it have something to do with that realization?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This was never going to make it if I didn't give more time. It got to the point where I was having to take meetings in my car or at lunch,
In between patients.
in between patients. And it just, it wasn't fair to my kids. It wasn't fair to me. It wasn't fair to my patients.
I'm sure.
Wasn't,
But
it
you were
wasn't
probably
fair to
good.
everyone.
You were probably good enough then. It wasn't fair to what this was going to become.
I just didn't knew it wouldn't, it would never be what I knew that it would have the potential to be if I didn't give it more time.
Was that a part of the coach too? Or did you do that before you had the business coach?
No, it was with the coach.
Okay.
They helped me with that.
Yep.
But it was an aha moment. I swear it really was. I woke up one morning and
Just knew.
I just was like, I
Did you make the decision then, like, I'm doing this?
oh yeah, I put in my 90-day notice like the next week.
You learned that skill somewhere too. I just find we talked about, I think, right in the beginning that so many people have these ideas, they just don't take action on them, and it's the same type of thing. You have to be decisive, and I talk so often. I was on someone's podcast a few months ago, and it didn't seem so novel to me. But what I said was, you have to commit to the outcome when you start.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought that was novel, and I went, no, but that's why people quit.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't commit to the outcome. And you did that quick enough. There was something about a decisive action. You're like, I see this.
Yeah.
I see what it needs to be, what I
Mhm.
want it to be. And if I don't do this and give it more time, it doesn't have a chance.
I think believing in your intuition is super important. I don't think it fails you. I think you fail when you don't follow your intuition. And my timing was perfect. I mean, it really was, because I quit and then I finished my practice in June. And at the end of June, Heidelberg invited us to go into Ohio. And so that's when I started, I was doing more networking, and when I had the time to network, and then I had the time to start, looking into investors, and, I just wouldn't have had the time, to take the meetings, to meet the people.
I don't like, this has been a great conversation. I like conversations more than questions. But there's
Yeah.
some of these questions I always like
No,
hitting
yeah.
people with.
Yeah, I get it.
About, what, I don't like the word just inspires. Everybody asks that word about what inspires a person, but have you thought about, I don't like legacy either. We ask all these questions. What do you want your legacy to be? What are you left behind? I mean, come on. I mean, that's it. But is there a purpose? Are you a person that thinks about like what your purpose is? Because some people believe in a purpose-driven life. Because you've done this thing pretty damn well so far. I love what you said about doing the best. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I say to everyone every day, give me the best you got today.
Yeah.
Just whatever you choose to do, just do the absolute best. Because what I know that turns into, I found about my life, where I come from. Where I came from, people would appreciate a $3 junk because they don't have the money to go spend $15
Yeah.
at a restaurant,
Yeah.
right? And so, but I just found in my life that when I give it everything I've got, don't focus on talent. I made a decision. I'm going to take this job today. It could be working at a fast food restaurant. It could be working doing landscaping for someone. It could be working waiting tables. Just once you make a decision, give it everything you've got and do the best that you know how to do that day. Because what I figured out was when that happens, I'm just a little bit better tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And then that compounds and stacks really quick in life. And you surpass everyone else. And then doing really good at that job will create other opportunities so you're more capable of doing another job at some point in the future. So I think the foundation's driven. But then it's like, okay, well, what's my purpose? I think about that. Are you a person that thinks about a purpose?
Like my purpose for life.
There it is.
Is that what you're saying?
That's the biggest question.
I don't know if I think about it in that big of a way.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that right now I just want to be the best person that I can possibly be. I want to push myself to see what my potential is, and so that's part of this too. Like, which is why I think I try to make sense of it to people when they say, you weren't satisfied just being a doctor. It wasn't that I wasn't satisfied with it. It's just I wanted to see if I could do more. How much more can I do? That's right now where I see like my my inner personal growth and seeing what is possible, because I am proud of myself for doing it. I have no regrets, kind of like what you say. I think you only regret the things you don't try.
That's what I believe. You're special.
Oh, thanks. You're
No,
sweet.
no, I think half the people that come in here, I feel that way about. I do. I'm like, they're doing something.
Yeah.
And if one of your passions are networking with other, because the most important people in my life are a couple strong women.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, and I think strong men in a good way help other boys and young men become strong men. And I think the same thing's true for women. And it's important that we all feel like we have the same shot. And,
Absolutely.
Yep. And so what you're doing from a networking perspective, and who knows, maybe you'll raise your boys to teach them the same thing that my mom taught me. That, hey, everybody deserves a fair shot. Everybody deserves respect, no matter the gender, right? No matter the perspective where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
Yep. And so this came from a strong woman. And I don't know if she knew that's what she was developing. She was just quality. And that happened.
Yeah, I don't think so. A lot of times you do realize it, right?
You're bringing them up that way. There is zero doubt in my mind.
Oh, well, I appreciate that because to me, there's no bigger responsibility than raising children and raising, to me, 3 strong, responsible, good, caring men.
Yeah. I think we can all make the world really good in our way. So I think we become better, whatever you're creating, but somebody with your attitude, your perspective, your mindset, you just end up changing the world in positive ways. And it's not just through these drinks. When you talked earlier about your people that were working with you, about how they felt when they sold 25,
Mm-hmm.
I remember back 17, 18 years. I've been in real estate for 19 years. Before that, I did education very non-traditional too. And I was on the road for a retail company, and I learned a lot from 20 to 25, interacting with customers. But I bought into an idea, and we were just selling things. And seeing a leader or two have passion behind it, it allows you to get on board. Doesn't matter if you're selling apparel in malls or if you're selling drinks. You're helping people create a fire. And the other night, there was a business consultant in town that sees we're doing big things that wants a piece of what we're doing. And he's awesome. He's great. He does big time podcasts. He's connected to people way beyond what I'm connected at. And but I got on the phone with one of the guys that started that retail company years ago. He's retired in his 50s, living an incredible life, partial owner of a minor league baseball team somewhere in Missouri. And I called him, and that same guy today is a part of what fed into me all those years ago when I was making shit money.
Yeah.
Right. But it really helped. And those people, they kind of know it's special, but they might not wake up for another 5 or 10 years to realize what you gave them, what this brand became. Me selling those things in a retail environment created this guy who could do really big things selling real estate and then impacting other people's lives and having this idea of this thing. So it's special. The world needs more of us. Hard work, tenacity, wanting to destroy people.
Well, and I agree with you in the way of that's the building the team and having other people a part of it and having other people really excited about it is a whole aspect of it that I really didn't imagine enjoying because it's hard, to bring people on and try to get them excited, or when there's hiccups to tell them, don't worry about it. We're going to be fine, and I think that it's another, I can motivate myself pretty easily, but it's motivating other people that I think when you ask me now that I'm going to come back to it, when you think, what do I need to do? Maybe that's something that I'm really working on right now.
Don't motivate them, inspire them.
Oh, there you go.
Motivational piece is hard. I
Yeah.
found that too.
Yeah.
But if you can inspire them, I think that's what you're doing. When they can buy into an idea, when you develop a culture of caring about others and doing something as a team. You've said the things today, and so you're doing it just through a product. You have They were the 3-tier mafia we started out with. You're actually developing your own 3-tier mafia. And here's what I think is a business. If you can put out a product that you can be profitable with, which you're reinvesting all of your revenue. That's what's happening.
Yeah,
now.
100%.
But you're making money or else you wouldn't be able to do it. So that's happening. You're also changing people's lives. I know that because you told me how people feel, right? And they're going to buy into this thing. So you're doing that, and you're going to have a financial win and an outcome for you. If you can do those 3 things, operating a business, that's everyone winning.
Absolutely.
It's tough to do in life.
It is.
It's tough for there to be a win-win situation.
Listen, I think most people will tell you the chances are, if people fail.
Yeah.
Keep
going. You've got what it takes. You're going to make more things. You're going to be running other business in 3 or 4 years. This thing's going to become more. People are wanting to buy into you. I mean, you're the person that's going to do big stuff. And if Shark Tank doesn't bring you on, they're lost.
That's how I feel.
All right, send a little parting shot at us. You have lots of other people to talk to in the wonderful Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati today. Parting shots. What did I forget to ask? What do we still need to talk about? What type of brilliance do you want to share with the world?
Me?
Yeah, you. This is your microphone. Here's the thing. This is the you've been on some shows. You're not gonna get hundreds of thousands of views from this, but you're gonna get more views from this than any show you've been on yet.
Yeah.
We're starting to build something here. So
I'm excited for you. It's great. It's fun.
we've just started.
I know, but isn't it fun? Momentum is fun.
Okay, you're gonna teach me some things. Fun. I'm very driven, so I don't focus on the fun too much. It was a little bit of an issue. But I do have downstairs on another floor, we have a real estate company. And it does say relax and have fun.
Celebrate the wins.
I heard that earlier.
Yeah.
I didn't let you know that I battle doing that personally.
Yeah. I'm trying to be better about it because I don't either.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's almost like checking it off the list. And then I have wins that are all stacked up. So I'm just on to the next win.
You can say that all you want to about celebrate the win. I just have a personal narrative that I just don't think that's the way. Now, you can celebrate them, but it's a moment.
Oh, it's a moment. Oh, you don't have time to just.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
No.
go. So I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to receive it better, right?
Yeah.
But
No, I have to tell myself all the time because I don't.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to.
Yell at us from Louisville. Just
Yeah.
You're like that
But
guy.
no, there's no time for a lot of celebrating.
There's not, right?
Yeah, because you're on to the next challenge, right?
And if you're passionate about it, who cares how much you're working? Because if I'm not doing this, what else am I doing? Sitting at pool parties all the time, like going out. No, I want to be the one throwing the party.
I listen. I'm with you. I always say, right now, I work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
This is probably the longest my phone has not been in my hand.
Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Mine too. It's been sitting far away. You even turned yours down.
I
right?
had to. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Good. They're like, who kidnapped her? No one. She's too crazy. You all. We will give her back. I promise.
But actually, I had a business coaching call on the way to come and see you, and we were kind of talking about, she said, well, what is one of the goals, and
Today.
one of my goals, just like with the business. And I said, I'd like to get to the point where I don't feel like I'm hustling all the time. And she said, but that's who you are. You like to hustle.
Quit listening to everyone else.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, you're right. I do like to hustle. I do. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where you feel like maybe you shouldn't like it, but I do. I like being busy. I like working.
Do you already feel like you've arrived?
Oh, no.
So when will you? You're going to yell at me about celebrating the wins. Then when will you feel like you've arrived?
Oh, she said the same thing to me today. My business coach.
I apologize. I have to be a
No.
coach for a bunch of realtors. So I
Yeah,
apologize.
she said the same. In fact, she's going to make me responsible for sitting down on and really thinking what it is, because she said you don't have a good vision about the win because you keep wanting to push it.
Mine's 1,000 realtors.
Good, so you have it.
Yeah.
My end win is for someone to buy it.
Yeah.
That's the end win.
Just someone to buy it, not a number. You don't have to share the number because it needs to become
Oh,
bigger.
I mean, like for money?
Yeah, don't share the number. If it's,
Oh, yeah.
Is there a number in your mind that'll be the win?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there is. I saw the little twinkle in the eye. Okay, good.
Oh, yeah, there's
All
a
right.
number.
Because there's a number attached to 1,000 realtors. But the
Yeah.
problem is, what I know is then it's going to be 10,000 after that.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be nationwide.
But that's how it works, right?
That's how it works. But at 1,000, I think if you get to that where you sell it, you're going to go on to do other things, entrepreneurial. But at that moment, I think everyone, if you can get to that big win, you feel unlocked. Like Mark Cuban, I don't know why I thought Shark Tank, it came to my mind. But he had a win that then led him to the platform to do all the other things. The other Shark Tank on there, Barbara, right?
Those are the two I wanted.
Well, there you go,
I
right?
even told them, I said, I want Mark or Barbara.
Yeah, and so she was in real estate. She sold her company, and that was her win. You get a platform then the world is unlocked. Like, so for me, I just want total freedom. Yeah, money comes with it because you have to have money. It's not about having the number in the bank, but it's giving yourself total unfettered freedom.
100%.
There you go. And so if you sell this thing, whatever that number is, it'll give you that.
It's freedom, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
I
People
mean,
don't know what it truly is.
Yeah, I completely agree with
Yeah.
you. But I always say, like, it's not someone buying it and giving you money means you did it.
It's validation.
Yeah, but it's the proof that you did it, right?
I like my receipts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
the
like
proof that you did it.
I like the receipts. So thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
First time we've had a physician.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had an ER nurse who was the president of the ER association. That was a long, long time ago. He was awesome.
Yeah, something with St. Elizabeth pretty high up.
Yeah, and so he's like the nationwide. So second person in the medical field, but the first physician.
Nice.
Yes. So she's in here ready to kick our ass, you all, and she's teaching us stories. So go buy her drink, Rivergreen Cocktails. I'm assuming is that Louisville influence, the Rivergreen thing? Like, because you're on the river and all that. Did that even matter?
It does have to do with it.
And is the green the natural ingredients?
No, but I should use that though. That's good.
I didn't ask. I just wanted to assume. That's a mistake. So coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky, the same place as Muhammad Ali, y'all.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
It's exciting
you.
to get here, and kudos for much success going forward. Go to your local place that you buy beverages in Kentucky and Ohio. It's coming really soon.
Oh, it's already there.
It's already there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're there.
And if they don't carry it at their local place, who do they yell at?
Oh, yes. That's the best thing ever is just to ask.
Give us your social media stuff. It looks great. What is it? Where do we go find you guys?
We're under our tag is Rivergreen Cocktails.
Everywhere. The
Mhm.
hashtag, Instagram,
Yep,
the gram,
yep,
Facebook,
yep,
LinkedIn. I
yep.
saw them all last night.
Yeah.
I was very surprised at the amount of time you've been in business and the relative size that you are currently, how good the social media was.
Thank you for saying that.
It's true.
I
It's better
just-
than ours.
yeah,
It's better than
I
ours.
appreciate you saying that. I really, Chris takes beautiful pictures. I just actually hired a social media manager to help me out with that because trying to get things off my plate and
To increase the volume, you've been listening to someone to increase the volume of social media post and engagement. It's necessary.
it's
a new world.
necessary. And before I started a business, I'd never been on social media, so it was all new to me.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Hey, much success in
Thank
24
you.
and going forward. And we're going to look back and I'm going to be like, yeah, we talked to her when.
Hey, gosh, I hope.
Thank
Have
you.
me back.
Yeah, thank you.